Yo, 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 what is up, YouTube? It's your boy AJ Talk Sports. We are back at it again live for another Best Ball Mania 7 draft today. Coming at you guys from the 106. Guys, we're going to go ahead and do something a little bit wacky, a little bit wild. We're going to go Ashton Genty here at pick 106, well ahead of his ADP. I want to make sure I kind of do some fun things throughout the course of the summer, especially in May when we're drafting. And I firmly believe that it's totally fine to pull up Ashton Genty to the middle of the board, especially given some of the comments that Clint Kubiak made today in his press conference, saying that he kind of looks at Christian McCaffrey as someone Ashton Genty needs to model his game after. And from a workload standpoint, what he kind of envisions for Genty, that he wants his best players to be on the field as much as possible. So taking Genty here feels honestly totally fine to me, guys, because seeing Genty finish as the RB4 makes perfect sense. And we look at the Raiders' playoff schedule, guys. They are one of the only teams to play all three of their games in a dome in the final 3 weeks of the fantasy playoffs. So the Raiders are going to be able to play the Broncos in a dome, the Titans in a dome, and the Cardinals in a dome, guys. Those Titans games and those Cardinals games is going to be absolutely Ashton Genty feasting, guys. With the Raiders, they should have the lead in those games, and I expect them to be in control fully of those situations. And guys, we see a guy pull up George Pickens to the 15 slot, and we see a CD George Pickens start at the 10 hole, which is very, very fun. We're on the clock here at 19, guys, and this is why I wanted to pull up Genty. We're able to take Brock Bowers at pick 19, and for most people, they don't have this start at this point through Best Ball Mania. And if they do, they're likely to have it at the end of the board here. And so the ability to get Genty and Bowers opens up a lot of fun possibilities for us. At pick 30, we could get Nico Collins, A.J. Brown. Rashee Rice would probably fall to us as well, given his situation. So I think that's extremely fun. And I really like this start and the flexibility and potentiality that it gives. And it's a start that I only have one or two Genty Bowers starts, guys, but it's only been from the 12 hole. So really happy to get it here at the 6 hole and see what we can potentially do with it. We see Trey McBride go right after select Bowers by Mr. Peterson, Chase Brown, Drake London, Nico Collins, Josh Jacobs. A.J. Brown goes, Nico Collins. We'll see who comes back to us at pick 30 here. We are drafting at 10 o'clock at night on a Wednesday. So these rooms tend to get a little wacky, a little fun, a little loose. I'm feeling really good, guys. I'm feeling loose. I'm feeling free. I'm feeling present in the moment and having a great day and a great night. We see Rashee Rice go, Breece Hall go, Mr. Scumberger and Mr. Peterson are up on the clock here. We'll see who we get here at pick 30. Peterson 4 is on the board here. He's thinking about who he wants to take. He's making his decisions. We'll see who we get here at pick 30. I'm open to anything. Guys, he goes Josh Allen, and we get Jeremiah Love. We get Jeremiah Love 8 picks past ADP, guys, at pick 30. This is super fun. This is extremely fun, guys, and this is why you pull up Ashton Genty to the 106, because I'm fairly confident, guys, that we are the first team in Best Ball Mania 7 to get a Genty, Bowers, Jeremiah Love start. Absolutely sick start, guys, that I'm honestly juiced up. I'm fired up about, because, guys, week 17, the Raiders play the Cardinals. So that's really, really fun as well. We're dedicating this draft to our family and our friends in our community for, supporting us and believing in us. And we're painting our, I look at drafting, guys, as a form of art, and I'm painting my Mona Lisa with this draft and with all the drafts that I'm doing in Best Ball Mania 7. So that's how I'm looking at this board. That's how I'm feeling right now, guys. And I'm just feeling grateful and present to be in this moment and draft with you guys today. So enough of that. Let's get back into what the board is looking like. We see Travis Etienne go, Chris Olave, Devontae Smith, Zay Flowers, Roy McMillan, T. Higgins, Garrett Wilson, a little bit of running backs with Kyron Williams and Javonte Williams. I was thinking about taking Ladd if he came back to me. We're going to be up here at pick 43. Luther Burden is on the board for us potentially, he goes, guys. So I'm totally fine doing something, that might be unconventional, guys. But like I said, I'm feeling just authentic, and I'm going to pick the guys who I feel like I just believe are going to deliver and have already delivered us the Best Ball Mania 7 championship. And that's going to be Colston Loveland, guys. I look at Brock Bowers and Colston Loveland as the Gen Z version of Gronkowski and Travis Kelce, with Bowers being Gronkowski and Loveland being Kelce, guys. And two generational prospects at tight end, and not only at tight end, but just as receivers in of their own right, guys. Extremely rare movement ability and catching ability for players of their size, and obviously just extreme IQ for both Loveland and Bowers as well. And so to pair them up with potentially two generational running backs in Genty and Jeremiah Love it's freaking sick, guys. And the fact that we got Jeremiah Love at pick 30 still gives me kind of chills and goosebumps, guys. But we're going to stay present in this moment. Take a deep breath and let this board come back to us at pick 54 and see who we want to take here. I'm open to really anything at this point. We're going to just let the board deliver what it needs to deliver to us. I was leaning Roma Dunze simply for the fact that we have Loveland. We could have done a nice little Bears correlation, but I'm feeling fine. I'm feeling free to let this board give us what it needs to give us. I have no inkling. I'm just going to be here and let this board reveal itself to us. We see Devontae Adams, Roma Dunze, David Montgomery go here off in the 5th round. Travion Henderson goes. I was interested in taking him. Jalen Waddle is at the top of my queue. Guys, we get Jalen Waddle to come back to us here 4 or 5 picks past ADP himself. And I think Jalen Waddle, guys, can easily finish as a top 12 fantasy wide receiver, given that he is now moved into, in my view, a clear offensive environmental upgrade for him. He's now the wide receiver 1 on a Sean Payton-led offense, and is really just set up to be what Sean Payton has been calling the move weapon for this offense that has been desperately missing. And having that kind of versatile chess piece that they can do pre-snap motions and shift the defense with and get easy, quick, schemed-up looks for Bo Nixon. And I think that's absolutely a gift to get Jalen Waddle here in the middle of the 5th, and allows us to take potentially Bo Nix later. And also gives us some fun options later to correlate with, because the Broncos, they play the Raiders, the Bills, and the Patriots. And so, we get some more correlation with the Raiders, which is great. And we get a potentially, not potentially, I believe an elite receiver with high spike week potential as well. So feeling really good about Waddle here at pick 54 is another gift, guys. This board is absolutely flying. 5-6 turn is Christian Watson and Jaden Tyson. I want to start thinking about who I want to take here, guys. Caleb Williams and Drake May are very interesting to me, given this build. Honestly, Marvin Harrison is to a degree as well, because we do have Cardinals on this team, and I know Cardinals are not a sexy team, but we do have Jeremiah Love, and the Cardinals play the Jets, the Saints, and the Raiders the final weeks of the year, guys. So that could, lend itself well to what we're building here. I'm likely going to pass on Marvin Harrison, but yeah, he goes anyway. So, what do we want to do here on this team, guys? I'm going Caleb Williams. I'm letting a timeout on Caleb Williams on this team, guys. We have Colston Loveland. Let's lock up the stack. We know Caleb is not coming back to us, obviously, because of the Roma Dunze drafter here at pick 71. He can take him at 71 or 74. Drake May is someone, obviously, who I love, guys, and I'm extremely high on. But given this specific build, I don't think Drake May makes sense. We don't have Travion. We don't have A.J. Brown up to this point. And yes, we could backstack Drake May. I've done that plenty of times with Romeo Dobbs and Demario Douglas and Hunter Henry. But I think, obviously, with this build, guys, it just makes sense to take Caleb because we do have London. And we're happy with that. So we'll see who comes back to us at pick 78. I was hoping maybe Parker Washington would be, someone we might think about here at pick 67. But honestly, guys, what is really the difference between like Parker Washington and Jaden Reed? Or I don't know. I think Parker Washington's elite, but I do believe that quarterback here was, the optimal selection because I personally just don't want Bo Nix to be my QB1. And if you don't take quarterbacks in this range, guys, in the 6, 7 rounds, you're going to be looking at someone you're not going to be happy with as your QB1, like Matthew Stafford, CJ Stroud, Tyler Shuck. Like quarterbacks just they go in a blink like that, especially at this time of the year, guys. And so I'm still very happy taking Caleb where we did, and I feel confident that was the right pick. And I love Parker Washington as a player, but I do feel like Caleb Williams could easily drop a 35-point game in the playoffs, and obviously paired up with Loveland, his clear alpha wide receiver or receiver on that team. I think it just makes sense for us at pick 67. We're on the clock here, guys. For me, it's honestly quite it's a no-brainer for me on this team, guys. You might look at it and be like, Jaden Reed should be the obvious pick. He's not. For me, I'm actually going to go Mr. Justin Herbert here. Despite us not having any Chargers players, I believe Justin Herbert is the optimal pick simply due to the fact that I believe receiver, guys, is very deep. I don't see much of a difference fundamentally between Jaden Reed and Michael Pittman Jr. or honestly even Khalil Shakir, which is crazy to say, but it's not really crazy to say. I love Jaden Reed. I think he could definitely have a bigger year just because the Packers are going to be consolidating their receiving tree. But like I talked about before with the Caleb Williams pick, guys, we look at the quarterbacks remaining, and it is not pretty. I want to make sure I'm investing myself in teams that are I feel extremely confident are going to have nuclear type offensive seasons. And that's going to be the Bears and the Chargers this year, guys. I am just tripling down and doubling down on my core fundamental belief in investing in elite coaches, which is going to be Clint Kubiak, Ben Johnson, Mike McDaniels, Josh McDaniels. Who else? I guess you can say, yeah, those are really the four guys. Andy Reid, he's been kind of losing me the last couple of years. I don't know, So I feel really good about this team so far, guys. And we'll see who comes back to us. We see after I take Justin Herbert, Jaden Reed off the board, Michael Wilson, Jordan Addison, and Chris Godwin at wide receiver. Mr. Hilchey is about to select his pick here. We'll see who he takes. He can really take anyone. He needs a quarterback, honestly. He doesn't got anyone. So we'll see who he takes. I am really free in my selections here, guys. And given our team build, we got Justin Herbert. So I'm gonna take Quentin Johnson here right around his ADP and stack him up with Justin Herbert. I think it's the no-brainer pick, guys. And you can hate me for saying this, but I am a QJ believer, guys. I root for Quentin Johnston. I root for his development as a player. And I just, I do think Quentin Johnston's movement ability for his size is ultra, ultra special. And, the only thing he needs to develop on is obviously just catching, right? And being able to high point balls and whatnot and not let it come into his body. But I believe that Quentin Johnston's putting in the work and he's developing. And, he has that spike week ability, guys, as he showed last year, to have games where he goes for 100 yards and a touchdown. And so that's what we're looking for, especially in round 8 for receivers. Like that's great, and he correlates with Justin Herbert. So we are fortunate enough to get that stack on the way back. And we're really fortunate enough to let this room come to us the way it has. So I'm feeling really grateful for that. We're letting this board just come to us. Let's take another deep breath here. Things are feeling really good in this specific room, guys. Like I said, I feel like this room is very loose, very, very free. And so I'm just happy to be here and take, who I see to be the best players at the best spots for us. We're coming up here pretty quickly, guys. I mean, if Blake Corum does come back to us, I would be very hard pressed to pass on him. We do already have Genty and Jeremiah Love, so that is what it is. But Michael Pittman is probably the optimal pick here for this build. Is there any receiver that we would really want at 120, at 115? Okay, Corum goes, guys. So Michael Pittman Jr. will be the pick here, assuming Mr. Peterson doesn't take him. He's gone. Okay, wow. He takes Mr. Xavier Worthy, who's been moving up boards with the news of Rashee Rice going to jail today or yesterday morning, unfortunately. So I'm more than happy to take Michael Pittman Jr., guys. It's Aaron Rodgers' final season in the NFL. He's playing with Mike McCarthy. I feel like Aaron Rodgers is going to go out really strong this year and make sure he ends his career on his terms. And I feel like that means that Aaron Rodgers is going to air the ball out and run pass the hell out of the ball. And Michael Pittman Jr. is going to be able to feast because Aaron Rodgers is not looking to, bombs away at this point in his career. He's looking to check it down, take the intermediate routes, take the underneath routes, and DK Metcalf is going to be opening things up deep. And Michael Pittman Jr. is just going to be feasting underneath guys. And the Pittsburgh Steelers have been lacking that underneath wide receiver for, probably 4 to 5 years now since they lost Deontay Johnson, frankly. So I think Michael Pittman Jr. is one of the most underpriced wide receivers on the board. I fundamentally do not see a difference between Pittman and Metcalf from a final production standpoint. And the 4-round gap in ADP is crazy, in my opinion. And I fundamentally believe that, Michael Pittman Jr. could easily outproduce DK Metcalf at this point in Metcalf's career, and specifically with the archetype of the offense that they're going to be running this year. Pittman can put up 140 targets, no problem. He's done it in the past with worse quarterbacks than Aaron Rodgers, and I believe he can do it again this year easily. We're about to come up here on the clock at pick 115, guys. Very interesting selections for us on who we could take here. Romeo Doubs was someone I was very interested in. Wan'Dale Robinson is there. Khalil Shakir is there. Let's go Wan'Dale. On this team, guys, let's go Wan'Dale. I don't have much Wan'Dale at all. I just love Wan'Dale's explosiveness, guys. I know the Titans, went out of their way to go ahead and sign him. I am not as high on Carnell Tate as others. Truly not as high on Carnell Tate as others. And so we saw what Cam Ward did with Chimera Dyke last year, guys, or Chimera DK, however you want to say his name. And I know for a fact that Brian Daboll is going to utilize Wan'Dale Robinson to get those easy first downs and targets for Cam Ward and help him, move the ball down the field. And that's why they brought Wan'Dale Robinson in. And Casey Concepcion is great, guys, but he's honestly like the Wan'Dale of the Browns. Not to say the Titans are much better than the Browns, but I just think Wan'Dale has proven that he's a really good player in the NFL, So I'm happy to take him, especially as our wide receiver 4. I think it's fine. And I don't see Carnell Tate being a huge target earner. Obviously, Calvin Ridley at this point in his career is not going to be a huge target earner. So I think there's a very real world that Wan'Dale Robinson leads the Titans in targets. And to be able to get a, number 1 target earner on their own team at round 10, guys, is very, very nice. I don't take Wan'Dale very often, but with builds like this, I think you guys can see why it makes sense and why we selected him here for that specific reason. So I think he's totally fine. Dobbs would have been a really nice fun pick as well because I do like Dobbs's, ability and match with Drake May. Guys, at this point in the draft, running back is pretty much dead. Tight end and wide receiver is dead. So I'm going to take who I believe is fundamentally the most mispriced player on the entire board from a tight end perspective. Outside of the elites, because I do believe Loveland and Bowers are both mispriced as well. I believe they should be first and second round picks. But I believe Oronde Gadsden should be going where Tyler, he should be going ahead of Tyler Warren. In my personal opinion, guys, Oronde Gadsden had a more impressive rookie year than Tyler Warren, and he's now in a much better offensive environment, playing under Mike McDaniels in a Justin Herbert-led offense with a revamped offensive line and no Keenan Allen. And so we can look at Oronde Gadsden being, potentially the number 1 receiver on the Chargers, guys. Yes, even more production than Ladd McConkey is possible. Unlikely, but possible. I think Oronde Gadsden's floor is being the second leading receiver on the Chargers this year, guys. And to be able to get that, obviously stacked up with Herbert on this team with QJ, is absolutely beautiful. And guys, this is one of my most favorite teams that I've ever been able to build so far in Best Ball Mania 7. And I've said this before, guys. I'll say it again. we already won Best Ball Mania 7. Like, I feel so grateful to say that we won Best Ball Mania 7. And not only did we win, we swept the entire podium. And teams like this are why we're able to do that. And we're just allowing the board to reveal itself to us. And we're just painting, like I said, our Mona Lisa here. And we're just flowing, guys, in that flow state. So let's just keep flowing, guys, on this team. We're about to be up here on the clock here shortly. Wide receiver is still a need for us. Omar Cooper Jr., I don't take him at all, guys. I really do not take Omar Cooper Jr. at all. Keaton Mitchell is also there. Omar Cooper Jr. is here. On this team, guys, we honestly need receivers. We honestly need a receiver. I like Keaton Mitchell quite a bit. I don't think he makes too much sense for us to pick right here, even though he does correlate with our Chargers bet. I think Omar Cooper Jr. is the last receiver I can say that actually has elite upside. And that's my first time clicking Omar Cooper Jr., guys. But I do believe that he honestly is the last receiver that has elite upside. He was a first-round pick, obviously in a weak draft, but still a first-round pick. And he is going to be the wide receiver 2 on the Jets for what that's worth. And honestly, Garrett Wilson has not been as impressive as we all kind of had hoped he would be up to this point in his career. And there's a reason they drafted Omar Cooper Jr. They want to get someone who's a great player underneath and can get some yards after the catch. And the Jets have a really nice playoff schedule as well. They get the Cardinals, who correlates with our team, and the Patriots and the Vikings. So, Omar Cooper Jr. on this specific wide receiver build, guys, I think works perfectly. And this is a very rare build for me, going 2 elite running backs. But like I said, guys, the way this team has kind of unfolded for us has been beautiful. And I'm just grateful to be able to draft these guys. We're about to be up here on the clock here again. How many picks left do we, guys? Let's work backwards. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 picks left on this team, which is plenty. There's several guys that I want to make sure that are must picks for us. One is Kamani Vidal. The other is Kaylon Black. The other is potentially Emmett Johnson. The other is Demario Douglas. And we could take Fernando on this team. We probably will take Fernando on this team, actually, guys, because we do value him on this specific build. And I think I'm going to go ahead and just do that and take Mendoza a little bit ahead of his ADP. Yeah, we'll take Mendoza. I want Mendoza on this team, guys. We have Ashton Genty. We have Brock Bowers. I think it only makes sense that we believe in the quarterback that's going to be leading them there. And Mendoza, he obviously could easily come back to us at 163, but it's possible he doesn't, It's possible he doesn't. All these guys behind me have, 2 quarterbacks at this point, so they're probably unlikely to take him, guys, but we already invested this team in the Raiders, and so I want to continue to ensure that we're getting the quarterback to correlate with all that. And so there's no other players that really stand out to me that it's like, oh, these are huge values that we need to get. Jawan Jennings was someone I was actually just thinking about for a second here, simply for the fact that he correlates with Omar Cooper Jr. For that Week 17. But, Kyler Murray's wide receiver 3. That's okay. We can – I'd much rather prioritize our correlation for this specific build, and we can get Jalen Naylor potentially on the way back. Oh, he just goes as soon as I say that. So I'm looking at this team, guys. One more receiver would be nice. We have 5 good receivers. I wouldn't mind 6. Zachariah Branch stands out to me as someone I do like a lot. We have 5 picks left. I mean, there's really no more. There's not 5 players I really want more than the guys that we have selected on this team. So, yeah. I'll probably go ahead and take Emmett Johnson first, just by ADP. We'll sort by ADP here, but I feel confident that we can get these guys. We see a big run at wide receiver go, which is quite interesting. I think Denzel Boston's a bust. Yeah, Brandon Ayuk could play, but what are you really getting with Brandon Ayuk? I'm high on Emmett Johnson. I'm just going to take Emmett Johnson there, guys. Brandon Ayuk is kind of like a what the heck's going on? I don't think he's just. I don't think he's. I don't think he cares about football anymore, guys. To be honest with you, um, even if he does sign with the Commanders, he could just absolutely flop. And I feel like once your heart is out of the game, your mind is, your body's gonna follow. So I used to be the biggest Brandon Ayuk fan in the world, guys. He was so transcendent for that year in 2023. I mean, to have 1,300 yards on 105 targets is like literally unheard of. Um, and I just believe like that's unfortunate. He blew out his leg, and then whatever happened last year, we don't really know. And so to see that he quit on his team, I don't know how to feel about that, guys. Personally, um, so I'm okay on passing on him. I know there's probably some behind the stuff scenes that we don't know about with him and Kyle Shanahan, but I'm okay on passing on him and just building this team out in other ways, in other routes. So we're going to be up here on the clock at 174, guys. No other wide receivers stand out to me except Zachariah Branch. I'm just doing a triple check, guys, to really feel like I'm confident in that. I mean, Brandon Ayuk is still there. He might just be done. He might just be done, guys. I'm not. I'm not interested in Brandon Ayuk. At wide receiver, there's no one that stands out to me more than Zachariah Branch and Mario Douglas, frankly. Um, so I'm going to take Zachariah Branch here. Well, I think it's just special after the catch, and he pairs up perfectly with what Kevin Stefanski wants to do for the Falcons, which is get the ball out of the hands of Tua and Michael Penix as soon as possible. And Zachariah Branch is a dump off merchant. He was the best wide receiver in college last year on screens. And I think that's going to continue in the NFL with his role specifically. And he's going to have a very versatile role. I think they're going to see some plays where he's just streaking downfield and might catch a bomb. And he's also going to catch some underneath stuff, which is really good for the game that we play in best ball. So I think that's a totally fine pick for us at this point. And really, there's no other wide receivers here that I feel confident about that are going to have a clear cut role on their team. And I feel like I do know what Zachariah Branch's role is going to be. So that's why I'm taking him. And he does correlate a little bit with our team. Actually, no, he doesn't. Never mind. I thought he did, but I like Zachariah Branch as a player. He was one of my favorite wide receivers in this draft. And a lot of rookies, we take Omar Cooper Jr. and Zachariah Branch, which I have not taken Omar Cooper, like I've said, at all. So kind of fun to take him at this point. We're about to be up here on the board here shortly. Sean Tucker is a running back we could take. Kamani Vidal is going to be an auto pick for me with the Chargers build that we have. I love Sean Tucker, but I don't believe in the Buccaneers offense this year, frankly. And there's going to be a big running back by committee there. And taking a rotation running back on a bad offense is not going to be fruitful, bearing an injury. And so, I don't know. I don't know how many goal line opportunities the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to be having this year, guys. You know what I'm saying? So even if he does get the goal line rule again, it's like, how valuable is that? Where I can get who I believe is going to be the goal line back for the 49ers here with Kaylon Black, and a player that was much controversy with his selection this year. And I just believe that Kyle Shanahan is the type of guy, guys, that he's very petty, right? He's very confident in his football IQ. And I think he's going to make it a point this year to actually follow through on what he's been saying about Christian McCaffrey and scaling back his workload. And he's going to do it for Kaylon Black, of all people. And we can see a world where Kaylon Black has like 700 yards from scrimmage and like 7 to 8 touchdowns. And so getting him here for our RB4 is honestly a slam, especially when we have transcendent talents like Jeremiah Love and Genty. So feel totally good about that, quite frankly. And I like Omar Cooper Jr. and Zachariah Branch on this team as we close out the season with some upside that they potentially could have. The Jets are obviously going to be tanking, and so they're going to want to see how many snaps. They're going to max out Omar Cooper Jr. snaps, guys, for sure. towards the end of the year, even if it's not immediate. But I like Omar Cooper Jr. was one of my favorite receivers in the draft as well. I honestly liked him more than Carnell Tate. So you can take that for what you will. Jeremy Bernard is falling here, guys. Jeremy Bernard's a solid player, but Aaron Rodgers does not give a damn about rookies, especially when he's in his final year in the NFL. He's going to rely on veterans that he trusts, you know? So as much as I love, or I don't love, but as much as Jeremy Bernard was a value there, it's okay. It's okay. And we're done at running back, guys. Our final selection on this team is going to be Mr. Demario Douglas, who I personally believe, as of May 20th, is the most undervalued wide receiver in best ball, simply due to the fact that, guys, he is going to be Drake May's starting slot receiver. And we have seen Drake May's starting slot receiver be Josh Downs, who was an elite producer in college, and Stephon Diggs, who put up a 1,000-yard season off a torn ACL, guys. I know Stephon Diggs is good, but Drake May elevated his production significantly, probably more than you think. And that's why there's no teams that are really trying to, make sure that they sign to rush him. I know he's had some off the field stuff, but if Stephon Diggs was truly like elite, I'm sure teams would be, forcing him to sign immediately. And, Stephon Diggs Demario Douglas stepping into that role, patiently waiting his turn. And he was forced into a different uncomfortable role last year, guys, and as like a downfield outside threat. And he produced with 15 yards per catch in an extremely limited role and still put up almost 450 yards and 3 touchdowns on 45 targets. So 10 yards per target is a metric that is, you can look at it from an efficiency standpoint for a receiver and be very impressed with. And 15 yards per catch obviously speaks for itself as something extremely, extremely impressive for what is obviously a slot receiver in the NFL in Demario Douglas, which is his natural skill set. So to be able to get him here at pick 211, I think it's just a fundamental mistake. Him being a wide receiver 120 is absolutely crazy when I truly believe, guys, that Demario Douglas could finish as a top 50 receiver quite easily. And obviously that means that this pick is a home run at this current selection. So that is going to do it, guys. And this is one of my favorite teams that I've ever drafted so far in best ball. I'm happy to be able to do it live with you guys. Grateful to be here with y'all. We got Ashton Genty. We pulled him up to the 106 to do something quite fun. We take Brock Bowers, and we get Jeremiah Love to fall all the way back to us at pick 30, which is absolutely crazy, especially with what's going on with Neighbors and Rashid. Colston Loveland comes back to us at 43, which is standard. Jalen Waddle falls to us at 54, guys, which is not a guarantee at all. And then we stack up Caleb with Colston Loveland, which I think is excellent. We saw Caleb and Colston Loveland have just an elite connection last year, especially as the playoffs went along and the games got really meaningful. Caleb Williams was like, Colston Loveland's my guy. Justin Herbert, we took him naked at the time, guys, but the way the board was able to bless us with Quentin Johnston right around his ADP, which is no guarantee these days with QJ moving up, and then Gadsden, as well as Mr. Kamani Vidal at 198, is sick. Excuse me. And then we got Michael Pittman Jr., guys, who I think is just extremely undervalued just because he's not a sexy player. He's on the Steelers, with Aaron Rodgers, so it's just not a fantasy, sexy, flashy type guy, but 130 targets is well within the range of outcomes for Michael Pittman Jr. this year. Wan'Dale Robinson, another one of those guys who not flashy on the Titans, but he's got back-to-back seasons of 140 targets, guys, and been very, he put up 1,000 yards last year. So I'll take that. And Omar Cooper Jr. So first time I've taken Omar Cooper Jr., but I do, like I said before, think there's a big tier drop off after Omar Cooper Jr. and Stephon Diggs at wide receiver. Pretty much falls off a complete cliff into guys who are pretty much useless. So to get him here was honestly kind of, no brainer for me, even though it was the first time I've taken him. I felt really good about that. And I did select the pass on Keaton Mitchell, guys, who I love. And it's just a really fun click every time, and especially obviously correlates extremely well with our Charger stuff. But with this specific bill, guys, we needed someone like Omar Cooper Jr. with his potential and talent as our wide receiver 5 on this team. So, and we close it out with Zachariah Branch, our wide receiver, who we talked about earlier. Fernando Mendoza, we took ahead of ADP simply due to the fact that we already bet on Brock Bowers and Ashton Genty as our first-round picks and second-round picks. So clearly we're betting on the Raiders being a massive breakout offense, which I fundamentally believe they are and they will be. And we want to take the quarterback, who's the number 1 overall pick, correlated with that, obviously. Emma Johnson, guys, going to be on the Chiefs, so I believe we're going to be one of the run-heaviest teams in the NFL this year. I can honestly confidently say that, even though they have Mahomes. They want to run the crap out of the ball with Kenneth Walker and Johnson, and Kenneth Walker is not going to have 25 touches a game. That's just not who Kenneth Walker has ever been in his career, except in college for 1 year. And we get Kalen Black, we talked about, is going to be Kyle Shanahan's pet project. And honestly, Kalen Black, he played with Fernando Mendoza in college. He's actually an explosive player, guys. He's like 210 pounds. He benched like 27 reps for 225. He's a freaking tank. He's explosive, like 90% burst score. Really fun player. And then Kamani Vidal, guys, who we saw what Raheem Mostert did in Mike McDaniel's offense in 2023. And we look at Kamani Vidal, who's essentially like a bigger, stronger version of Raheem Mostert. And he's going in round 17 for reasons unknown to me. He should be going in round 12 with Keaton Mitchell at the worst. He put more on film last year than Keaton Mitchell has put on film last year, fundamentally. So, and he's going to be the goal line back too if anything were to happen to Omarion. He's just, he can handle way more touches than Keaton Mitchell. So I think he should go ahead of Keaton Mitchell, frankly. So, and then we talked about Demario Douglas being just a starting slot receiver for the New England Patriots. So that's just an absolute smash. So that's the team, guys. Like I said, one of my favorite teams that we've drafted so far in Best Ball Mania 7. I feel like in my heart, guys, this is going to be one of the teams. This is going to be one of the teams to get to the finals and help us sweep that podium that we were able to do here in Best Ball Mania 7. So super sick team, super fun team. Hope you all enjoyed watching. It's been AJ Talk Sports. Have a good night, guys.